You guessed it, I came home with some peonies. These are my favorite flowers, the Sarah Bernard variety in particular. So I was so excited when I saw that Lowe's was carrying this one. They get really big and the blossoms are huge. They come out in early summer. So look at this, about 48 inches tall when it is mature. I opened the bare root at Lowe's to see what it looked like, and it is really healthy. I've bought far worse ones online, so I was happy about that. Let's move on to the next one. I got some lady fern. I love ferns. They just add such nice texture to your shady area. So I have an area near my cutting garden where I'm just going to plant a mass of them, and they pair so well with the peonies. Really love the ferns along my river. So the next one that I got is this Nico Blue Hydrangea. It's just the classic cottage flower. This is one of my favorites. I am going to have to work a little bit harder to get those blue flowers in my alkaline soil. Anyways, let's talk about these bare roots. I'm going to start with peonies, how to plant them, and how to get them to thrive in your climate. Okay, so these are killer bare roots. I can't get over how awesome these ones are. I've bought some puny ones before. I even actually got a 4th right here from one of them. So I got kind of 4 for 3 here. It's awesome. I'm just going to go ahead and put them. Holy shiz. Whoa, that scared me. Did you guys hear that? Now that I've calmed down, I'm actually just going to plant where this new growth is up, leave that on the surface. If you don't have any growth on your bare roots, right here is a little eye. There's eyes all over. This was an eye before it started growing. So each eye typically represents a stem that is going to be growing. And on this peony, I can tell it's a little bit more of an established bare root. It looks like it was taken from a 4-year peony, which means I'll probably get a bloom or 2 this year. Typically with peonies, you don't really get your full, beautiful, established bush for 3 to 4 years where it really starts to blossom. So I'm excited about this one. But make sure you're not planting, just as a warning, once again, make sure you're not planting those eyes lower than 2 inches below the soil or they might not bloom. But once you get them out in the ground, that's the goal. Just check out my video on planting bare root peonies if you're curious. That's all I'm going to do right here. These are just really big bare roots. I'm just so pleased. Just going to go ahead and stick them in there. Leave that top growth up a little bit. Really not that hard. I'm not going to overcomplicate it for you guys. This one is kind of funny. It is going all over the place. So you have one right here, up one right here. That can be kind of confusing. Just go ahead and stick those roots down here and they'll figure it out. That is going to need a bigger pot. I'm going to move that over here. So I didn't pre-moisten my soil just because I was really lazy, but that's probably a good idea. Go for it if you want to pre-moisten that soil. I'm just going to saturate it once I get these in. Okay, and then I'll cover the tops a little bit and we should be good to go. Okay, now that I've got those peonies planted up, I'm actually going to store them in my unheated garage. They like the cold in order to set buds. I'll just let them hang out in there. I have some tulips in there. They're going to be little friends. I've also noticed in my climate there are so many beautiful established peony bushes. I'm about 2 years away from that, so I'm a little bit jealous, but they are very versatile. They tolerate the full sun, the part shade, and even some deep shade. You're just not going to get as many blossoms that way. A few last notes with these peony bare roots. So they are cold hardy all the way down to zone 3. So they really do love the cold. They live up to 50 years. So they'll just keep rewarding you year after year. But if you're above a zone 8, your winters are getting a little bit too warm. They're not going to have enough cold temperatures to set those buds. I have seen people go to the extent of putting ice cubes around their peonies. That is some serious effort. So as soon as my snow melts and the soil is soft, it's not frozen anymore, early spring, I'm gonna get these bare roots planted. I just find they do so much better before that heat sets in. Okay, let's move on to ferns. The minute you buy your fern bare roots, go ahead and take them out of the package and get them soaking. Mine have been soaking for about 4 hours. You can soak them for a little bit longer, up to 8 hours. Anyways, let's take a look at them. They're a little bit different and you're gonna have to pot them up different than you do your peonies. When I took them out of the package, I was kind of confused where the roots started, where they ended. So anyways, I'll help you figure that out. Okay, so you see this bare root right here is all of the roots. So with these ferns, they grow rhizomes laterally. So you kind of want to plant them like they're laying down horizontally. And up here, let's get a close up. This is where you can get a lot of new leaflets and growth. Right here, you can see some green growth, but they're kind of funny. They grow up very spindly, kind of curly. They're very interesting when they first come out. So this is really easy to plant. I'm just gonna go ahead and lay it like this, laterally, have those roots coming down. I loosened them up a little bit, and now they have a nice soaking. Pretty simple. So I'm just gonna stick them in there and cover them just slightly. I didn't soak this soil either, so I'll make sure to saturate it really well. Okay, just gonna cover that up a little bit, and that's all you have to do. This one doesn't have nearly as many roots. Just gonna stick it in there. Okay, cover that one up, and I have 2 more to go. So with these ferns, I'm gonna go ahead and keep them in my greenhouse, let them wake up. So a few last notes with ferns is they are one of those beautiful shade-loving plants that provide texture. This particular variety I bought, the lady fern, it's a little bit more heat and drought tolerant, which is gonna be great for my climate because I live in a desert. So I'm gonna plant it underneath my willow trees. They are kind of native to the woodland settings. They really like that kind of environment. So if you can mimic that, you're doing great. And I'm just gonna make sure I keep them moist, and that's about it. If you put them in too much sun, if it's really hot, they will definitely burn. They won't die, but they just will look really unsightly. So anyways, I'm just gonna wait for these to take off, and then about 3 months, I'll get them in the ground. I removed the packaging out of my hydrangea, so we're moving on to that, and I'm just gonna remove all of the soil around the roots. I really wanna expose those roots because I'm gonna start soaking them. You only wanna soak them for about an hour or 2, not too long to where you're gonna get root rot. So it's been in my bucket for about an hour. So you can see all those roots, they look nice and healthy. So I'm gonna go ahead and pot it up, plant it just slightly above those roots, right in the center. I too have not moistened the soil, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and saturate this. Make sure you have holes in your pot so that it can drain really nicely. Okay, so I actually moved it to this container just because I realized this one doesn't have any drainage holes, and this is a pretty good size. Anyway, I just wanted to show you what's going on here. So my leaves are starting to wilt and droop. So it's going through a little bit of transplant shock. But as soon as these roots start to take off, it's gonna start growing again. So don't worry about it too much if that is happening. And don't fertilize it until it starts to get some of that new growth. I will definitely update you on that and show you what is going on. I'm just gonna go ahead and give this another nice soaking. Let's just let that spill out of there. I love having this greenhouse because I can kind of just let it drain. So in my greenhouse, I'm gonna have to water them a lot more than I would in my garage. So I'll just keep an eye out and see if they start to dry out, and then I'll just water them again. Just gonna have to check on them periodically and babysit them a little bit. So with this Nico Blue Hydrangea, if it puts on a ton of new growth, this Bareroots, I'm gonna actually just have to upgrade it to some bigger pots. We'll see what happens. It is cold hardy to zone 6. So I'm a zone 6. Definitely gonna give it some winter protection. I just kind of want to walk outside, show you where I'm going to be planting all of these things, and give you an idea of how I'm going to help it grow really well in my climate. Unfortunately, they're a little bit trickier to grow here. And it's funny, when I go to Lowe's and see these big blue flowers, it's so misleading because they don't go blue here unless I add a lot of extra nitrogen, some sphagnum peat moss, basically add some acidity because the acidic soil makes them go blue. So if you live somewhere with high acidity, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm out in the area where I'm going to be planting all of these Bareroots. The peonies will go along here. This is our cutting garden area, so I wanted to add some flowers here that cut really well. Those blue hydrangeas will cut well. I hope I can get blue hydrangeas. I'm going to work really, really hard. It's going to take some effort, but I'm just going to plant them where they have a little bit of this winter protection, and then they're going to definitely be more shaded right here. So we will remove this run, clean up this area, and then in winter I'll just protect it like I did with my other mop heads over here. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to zoom in. There we go. I just put some straw inside some wire cages. Now that I'm back here, I'm seeing that this area is much bigger than I thought. I'm definitely gonna have to buy a few more ferns and a few more peonies, but I am gonna do a triangle of those hydrangeas. But in my climate, they're not gonna get as big as some of you that live in a climate that's more humid, a little bit more mild, where they're just really, really happy. In the shaded areas, they're not gonna get as big. So I'm gonna probably buy a few more also. This is getting crazy. I'm gonna save so much money though, doing it this way. So the hydrangeas should be happy right there because they'll only get about 3 to 4 hours of that morning sunlight. They will burn in my intense afternoon heat because that willow right here, I hate the willows. Can't say enough things about how much I hate them, but they do provide some shade, which is one of the positives. Okay, I think I've said pretty much everything I want to about these hydrangeas, but if you do live in a summer that's more mild, you have a lot of humidity, they will definitely tolerate that full sun. Okay, I think that is all I've got for you guys today. I am going to be planting that flower bed over the next month. I've got a big project in the front that I'm planting, so I'm way overdoing it, way in over my head, but I usually get them done. Just gotta work hard and you can get things accomplished. So that's what my plans are. Lots of planning. I'm gonna plan this year. That was one of the biggest mistakes I made last year, was not planning my flower beds. I get out there, I change my mind, it just becomes a cluster F. So, okay, I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Hit the subscribe button for all of these updates on all the Bareroots. Hit that notification bell to be reminded of my videos, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.